Hello, we're live. It's Wow Ergonomics. It's just let me check this. Oh, it's actually just gone midday on a Wednesday, which is, as far as I'm concerned, it's our usual slot.
Yes, very much so.
It's as much of our usual slot as we can possibly get, considering we do move the show around all over the place.
Right? It was our traditional slot, wasn't it, Graham? Was Wednesday 12 o'clock, and then just life has started to get in the way again, hasn't it? So we have to be a little bit flexible, a little bit hybrid,
a little bit this, a little bit that. As the pandemic, sort of unfurled itself across the world, and everyone went into lockdown, and we started this show in the middle of the pandemic in order to ease everybody's burden. When it comes to ergonomics, we were liberated by the midday slot on a Wednesday, but since then, with you getting back on the road, sir,
yes, it's all my fault.
It is all your fault. We now have to supplement our Wednesday with whatever day is going as the week goes on. We're very fortunate in that we have a guest. As we quite often do now on this show, in order to play the wonderful Guess the Ergo game. And so we're going to bring that guest on now. Please be upstanding. This is where you have to. This is where you have to have a stand-up desk. Look at this.
Oh,
it does work.
Show off.
Yeah, look at that. Whoa, my phone's gone though. Chaos reigns. Please be upstanding for Chris Hope. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Chris. So let's just turn that off there for a second and bring Chris in. Here we go. Chris, nice of you to join us, sir.
It's my pleasure, and I was trying to be clever with my title. It's Chris Lomas from Hope 4, formerly Reach My Street. So that was just me trying to be clever.
Yeah, well, we were being clever with ours this morning. Graham Ergo Coath and Steve.
Nice to meet you, Graham Ergo.
Yeah.
And Stephen Wow.
In a minute, we'll ask you a little bit about what it is that you do, sir, and get to know you a little bit better. But you're here primarily to join us in a wonderful little game that we call Guess the Ergo product. And we started this when we first started this show. It was let's just say it was a deep thought leadership show, all about ergonomics and the whole space of ergonomics. But you just don't get the ratings for that, so we added a game.
So it went wrong from there.
And it went downhill, but basically the ratings went up.
Okay.
So.
Listen, depending on the outcome of this, I may like Odessa or completely hate her from here on in. So we'll see.
Oh, right. Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm sure you.
Okay. Yes, she's lovely.
You do not need to do. You're not the one that's going to look stupid, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm used to it, but I just wasn't ready for it. I would have worn my clown outfit.
Well, we have Stephen for that. Anyway,
there's a couple of clowns here already. Don't worry about that, Chris.
So Stephen is going to don his now famous, legendary, and have they sponsored you yet? Have they actually given you any sponsorship for this?
No.
Sutton Coldfield scarf.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, we are struggling at the moment with the team's not performing well. The manager left this week, so it's dark days in the Times of Sutton Coldfield Town at the moment. But
Chris, do you fancy a football manager's job?
I think I'm highly qualified. I know absolutely nothing about football.
Yeah, you could probably fill the vacancy there at Sutton Coldfield.
Yeah, Manchester United have been on the phone this morning.
Oh, have they?
Have they?
The wages are a little bit lower, Chris, just to manage your expectation than that.
Oh, right.
When he says a little bit lower, you've heard that a certain discount supermarket, and it was in the kind of the content for this morning, but a certain supermarket have raised the bar, as it were, when it comes to wages this morning, minimum wages for their staff. It's probably less than that.
There you go.
So yeah,
it doubles what I'm on then. So
yeah. I was going to say, so you're probably better off stacking the shelves down the supermarket. But here we go. I've got an object here.
Right.
Stephen is going to place said scarf on his head.
Okay.
And then the way that this game works is that Stephen has to guess what the object is.
Yeah.
Now, to make this harder for you this week, Stephen, I've actually left said object in its box.
Oh, okay.
All right. But there is a photo or sort of a line drawing of the object on the outside of the box.
Okay.
All right. And I might have to give you a clue along the way. But so he can ask you, Chris, questions about this object. And from what you can see, and given your extensive knowledge of ergonomic products, you can answer him yes or no or whatever. Okay. All right, and we'll see where we get to. Okay, so here's the object for everyone to see.
Except me, of course.
Except for Stephen. Stephen, you can ask away. Okay.
Chris, would I wear this object, or could I wear this object on my body?
No.
Okay.
Well, you could, but you'd look daft, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I'm wearing a scarf, Graham. On my eyes, I'm used to looking daft. So, okay, so you can't wear it. Would you use it with your hands?
Yes.
Okay. Would you use it with one hand or both hands?
Both.
Okay.
Let me just point out at this stage that your scarf looks like it says goldfish.
Yeah.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it a goldfish? No.
No.
It's okay. Does it, from what you can see, Chris, does it look like it's made out of metal or plastic?
Plastic, I would say.
Okay. Is it one color or more than one colors?
Not defined.
Okay.
Correct. Absolutely.
Oh, it sounds too obvious to be a mouse, as in a computer mouse. Okay. Is it? Would it fit in the palm of your hand?
No.
No, definitely not. Actually, I can tell you, it's quite heavy.
Okay.
He says lifting it up.
If you prolong this, Graham's going to be pretty upset.
Yeah, I'm gonna get trapezoid issues.
Oh, really? Are you having to do a bit of
I'm lifting it at the moment. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now this is a tricky one because I've got no idea where to go with the next question. Okay. Would you use it in conjunction with a computer or a laptop?
Yes. Very good.
Would you put your computer or laptop on top of it?
No.
Okay. Would it touch the computer or laptop?
Depends on how close it is, but no.
I'd say you wouldn't use it with a laptop, Stephen.
Okay. Is it a monitor arm?
No.
No.
I'll give you a quick clue.
Can I have a clue?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick clue. This is a very, very old bit of kit, right? But it really was the sort of grandfather of this kind of product.
Okay.
Other products.
Would you use paper with it?
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Is it like one of those stands that holds papers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what it is, Stephen?
No. Well, I can imagine what it is. Is it one of those stands? It looked like a lamp, but it held the paper up high, and you put it sort of near your computer. So no, I guess the sort of the forerunner. No, am I going down? No, not one of them.
No.
I don't know, Graham. One more clue.
You can see. You should be able to see right through this.
You should be. Some sort of magnifying device. Oh, is it like an old style privacy screen?
No. Okay, I think
it clips over the top of the screen. No,
I think you've had enough time this morning. I think it's time for you to
I've been beaten.
Unveil.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It's the original.
Where did you get that from, Graham?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the original Good Use Microdesk.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember?
Made in when? When was that made?
Well, it's still possibly even available, but this was the pre-runner, obviously, of various other pieces of inline document holders.
Okay.
So now we have to explain to Chris. Chris, this is where we now explain to you what this is in terms of a piece of equipment. So sometimes people working at a computer work with documentation. Yeah. The trouble is, when you work with documentation at a computer with a full-size screen and a keyboard, you sometimes have to write on it. Yeah. Trouble is, if you're writing on your documentation, your keyboard gets further and further back on the desk. Then what happens is you're writing here, and then you have to lean over everything you've written to type, and you overextend, and you then go into a hunch. So this was one of the first bits of kit where it's what you call a slanted document slope. So you could put the documentation on the slope to write, which elevated your posture as you're writing, and then you pulled it over the top of the keyboard while you were doing that, and then you pushed it back so that the keyboard was in front of the documentation, so everything's in a line.
Very good.
When you're typing from it. There you go.
And of course, Graham, it stops you from people having paper all over their desk and then twisting from left to right to change paper. It puts you in a straight line. Well, yeah. So in effect, the key to the whole ergonomic piece, Graham, is you would be more of an expert than I, is working in the sort of the parameters of your shoulders. So if you can work in that nice straight screen, paper, keyboard line, that's the ideal way to work. So it gets rid of the paper being thrown all over the desk.
A clever business called Back at Elkheisen, who just happened to sponsor the show, took that idea and went with it and moved it on and developed it so that the front of the unit slid down. So actually you didn't need to move the whole unit continuously. All you needed to do was slide the top down with the documentation on it.
A lovely plug for the Flex Desk there, Graham. Thank you very much. Our sponsors will be pleased.
No problem.
Honestly, I actually thought it was a keyboard holder, so I was completely on track. Just in case anyone at home is thinking, that guy didn't answer the questions quite right.
No, absolutely. And thanks, Claire, for watching. Yeah, loving our names. Yeah. Well, Chris is in particular. Chris, so talk to us about what it is that you do.
So my wife and I relocated to Moldova in February to rescue orphans and victims of child sex trafficking. So that's what we do. So we change lives on a daily basis. So since we've been in Moldova 9 months today, actually, we're now supporting 350 orphans, 50 children's homes, 2 orphan crisis centers. We're in the process of building a orphan vocational academy to guarantee children work. We're also here to teach a nation to fish. So we've already got our own TV show since we've been here to the nation to be entrepreneurial. And I was in Transnistria yesterday.
Is it called Salmon Fishing in Moldova?
Yeah, they actually thought at the presentation yesterday, they actually thought I was going to teach them how to fish, fly fishing and stuff. But no, it's the metaphoric give a man a fish stuff. So yeah, we're changing lives on a daily basis.
Now I'm going back to my sort of geography days at school, which is a long time ago, Chris. So obviously Moldova was previously part of what was Russia or the USSR as we used to know it. Romania.
Okay. So there's that game in the UK called Where is Moldova? So it's nestled between Romania and Ukraine. So it's landlocked. So Transnistria, interestingly, is I have to be careful because I can't be political, but it's a breakaway region, and it's got heavy Russian influence. So going across the border into Transnistria is like stepping back in time. It's just fascinating.
Now, Chris, did I read something recently? And obviously from the scarf that you saw before that I'm a keen football supporter. Is there not a football team that's operating in that area you just described that's incredibly wealthy but all the area around it is incredibly poor? I'm sure I read a piece, and it was this little slither of land that was very much. It was the way in which people were sort of trafficking contraband material in from Ukraine into Western Europe. I'm sure I read something about that.
You're a very clever guy. So both countries have impressive football teams. Although I think did Moldova lose to Scotland recently, or
I think they did.
Yes, they did.
But interestingly, Transnistria is an interesting. I have to be careful because I live here. Is an interesting region because there is a lot of stuff that can cross the border from Ukraine. Interestingly, though, Moldova is the human trafficking capital of the world per capita. So they estimate around 10% of the population. 10% of the population has been trafficked at some point. And since we've been here, we've already closed one trafficking ring down. So which made us very unpopular. The guy smuggled weapons as well. So I was told to get out of Dodge, but I'm still here.
Yeah. Is there any way that people back here can support you, Chris?
Yes. Sponsorship is what makes this happen. So people can head over to, we're in the process of changing our name to Hope 4, but our website is reachmystreet.com. So that's reachmystreet.com. And we live and die on sponsorship. It's we recommend £30 a month, but we've even got a child that's sponsoring her pocket money each month at £5. But every single penny, we're unique because every single penny that we're given, we spend on the reason it was given. So we're okay. We've got family and friends that protect us because we're here without a salary. We're just changing lives, which means that every penny we raise is spent on the reason it was given.
Graham, can I just share my screen a second? Is that okay?
Of course you can.
Does it work? Just when we were just talking there, I was just looking, and I'm if you can see my screen now, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Is this the area you're talking about, Chris?
Yes, yeah.
It is.
So
this was an article. If anyone who sort of follows football, to sort of put some context around this was an article that came out in September, and this was the area they were talking about. And this rich football team in this area that qualified for the Champions League, but in an incredibly poor area of the world.
Yeah. So I live in Moldova. In fact, I live where you got the word Moldova. I live kind of the right-hand circle. The O. That's where I live. I was in Tiraspol yesterday.
Wow.
And if you go up to the article, it talks about the Sheriff ground. Sheriff is the major retailer over there. And I had a meeting with the director of Sheriff. So it's a small world, right?
Yeah, there was some. I mean, say if anyone gets a chance, what I'll do, Graham, is I'll post a link. But there's an article that just sort of talks about this whole area that Chris is describing. I'll copy that link and put it in the comments, just if anyone wants to see that. But again, it sort of rang a bell. I thought I'm sure that I've heard of that quite recently. So
very good.
Yeah, and Chris.
But as you say, you're talking about an area where you're working, Chris.
Yeah.
Say again, Graham. Sorry.
I said, and do put your link to your website in the comments as well.
I will do.
Go on, Steve.
How do I do that? Sorry.
This will be running. This show will be running live on LinkedIn on my profile. So if you just go to that show, on LinkedIn, go to the comments and put your link in.
Will do. Fantastic.
And then people can pick that up.
Okay, amazing.
Stephen,
it's been incredible to be a part of this.
Well, no, it's incredible for us to be able to share your news, sir. I mean,
thank you so much.
I mean that's the incredible thing. What a thing you're doing, and at a time when tomorrow, people will be starting to think, schools will start to be thinking about children's welfare anyway, with children in need, etc. I mean, that's just so important that we remember children in need around the world. Well,
just to say, the average salary here is about £120 per month. There's 80% poverty, and so someone donating £30 per month, it makes a massive difference. It makes a colossal difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Wow,
so brilliant that you were able to join us today. So I hope playing the game didn't traumatize you at all?
Not at all. I was practicing my Trekkie sort of response. I'm a doctor, not a ergonomics expert, but I didn't need it, so it's okay.
No, absolutely. I will catch up with you in LinkedIn land after this, sir, but thanks so much for joining me.
That'd be great. Also, just to say, Graham, help comes in many forms, and if there's experts like social media experts, marketing experts, it's just me and my wife, but we're reaching so many people. So if anyone can lend us a hand in any area, that would be incredible.
Talk to me and Odessa about that afterwards. We'll be happy to help you.
Take care, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Take care, Steve. Bye-bye.
Bye. Brilliant.
What a great guy.
What a great guy.
Fantastic.
What a great thing to be doing. That the figures were quite shocking. Really.
I've posted the link to that article, Graham, in the comments. I don't think it shows up in the comments that me and you can see now, but I've posted the link to that article. But it's a story. It's this huge paradox of this sort of really, really, really poor area that's got a team, and they've qualified for the Champions League. They're playing against the Real Madrids and Barcelonas and Bayern Munichs, but they come from this area that's incredibly poor. And as Chris has just said, they're paying footballers from Brazil and all over the place hundreds of thousands of pounds, and yet on the doorstep, this huge sort of human trafficking and sort of child neglect is going on the doorstep. It's galling, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, is there not at a point where some of these footballers, I don't know, need to look at themselves and say, why are they supporting that?
Absolutely. I mean, as I say, if you read through the article, as I say, that sheriff that was mentioned is like this huge retailer. They're almost the big sort of commercial body out there. It's quite an interesting piece. As I say, you get a chance to read it afterwards, but it's amazing that Chris and his wife are going over there, and there probably is the money there, which is what you hear about a lot of time, don't you? When you hear about donations to countries, actually a lot of time the money is there. It's just being abused by government bodies, tyrants, whatever you want to call them. So absolutely we have to support them. But that's the frustrating thing, is the money is probably there already, but it's just being taken away and used for other selfish purposes of people, isn't it?
It is. Well, I'm glad we had Chris on. It was an absolute pleasure to
absolutely
meet him. What a hero. Makes us feel quite insignificant this morning. Humble. Yeah, that's the word. So now listen, tell me.
Yes.
Anything you've spotted in the news this week that you'd like to bring to my attention, sir?
Do you know what? I was making some notes before, and I got a whole load of things. I mean, you mentioned before, we'll touch on the little thing. I tell you what I thought was quite interesting. Don't know if you've seen this one, just broke this morning, and I saw an email in my sort of personal inbox before I read the article. Have you seen that Amazon are no longer accepting Visa credit cards from January next year? You can only pay with a Visa debit card, because what they're saying is the charges are that high that Visa are passing on to Amazon, that Amazon now will only accept a debit card. So you've got a couple of months notice, and clearly they're not doing it before Christmas, but you're all going to have, everyone, and I presume most people have got Amazon accounts, you're going to have to go in and update all your data, but you can no longer use your credit card. So those purchases where you wanted a little bit more of time, you've now got to have the cash sort of sat there in your debit card. So that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just partly a move that's come out of the fact that, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that eBay changed their structure as well, because eBay, every payment was to and froing via PayPal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now eBay pay you directly. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So eBay are not using PayPal as a channel in order to pay back, or to do the payments, etc. So it's interesting. I mean, surely each of these financial bodies that are part of the infrastructure of these businesses are going to have to change their business model if they're going to start losing these significant amounts of business. Surely.
You'd expect there to be some backtracking over the coming weeks. I mean, the interesting thing will be, Graham, is when we do this show in January, does it actually happen, or does somebody at Visa who's had their arm twisted up their back actually go, no, we better change our our fees. But ultimately, it is quite expensive, isn't it, when processing credit card? When I'm thinking particularly from, I know Amazon's a huge organization, but it does affect a lot of small retailers, doesn't it? When they're asked to process payments via credit card, it can make up quite a significant proportion of the overall transaction. But the fact that Amazon have done it, as I say, you can imagine that's going to need millions and millions of people to log in their accounts, change all the details over. It's going to happen. There'll be people who won't realize, there'll be parcels not delivering, kids missing out on birthday presents and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's a story. I say the email dropped in my personal inbox, and I thought, that's funny, I've not read anything about that. And then half an hour later, the story then seemed to break in the wider press. So that'll be interesting to see how that one goes. My
mind takes me to a place where I'm thinking, how long will it be before Amazon develop their own card?
Well, do they not have one? And I always click through it at the checkout. Is there not something already there? Possibly.
But most of these cards that organisations have, etc., have sat on top of the Visa or MasterCard solution for years. But I'm just wondering. I wonder whether it's we'll start to see changes at some point with some of those infrastructural bits. I mean, Amazon as an infrastructure now. Forget Amazon supermarket online. But Amazon as a infrastructure is ginormous.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And I've actually been to, there was the CEO of Amazon at one point said that, or the previous CEO Jeff said that he foresaw that actually someone would come along and actually create something bigger than Amazon.com, but it would be on the Amazon platform.
Okay.
Right, because all these things sit on AWS. The infrastructure is Amazon Web Services, and that someone will come along and do what they're doing better, but it will use Amazon AWS to do it. That's partly where they were going with, allowing vendors to have their own market within the Amazon market as well. It was a move away from it being you putting your products on Amazon. You could actually have your own shop on Amazon as well. So it was a move that way anyway. But I do wonder how many of the traditional, as we move forward, how many of the traditional infrastructures will disappear? Because it's kind of been a given for years and years, hasn't it? There's another one. Satellite dishes and receiving. You know where I'm going with this. Satellite dishes and receiving your TV via a satellite dish, right? Have you seen the new Sky Glass?
Sky Glass, where they're talking about, in effect, you buy the TV, don't you? You buy a Sky TV, and all the dish and everything gets taken away, doesn't it?
You don't need the dish. The thing is that now it's saying that as the internet speed has got quicker, and you've now got direct to the door fast broadband, that everything will be delivered via broadband. So all these dishes go in the future. We'll go to antique shops and people will go, what the hell is that? Oh, that is a satellite.
What's that on the wall?
That was a satellite. Why people might be watching programs in years to come where they're looking at the outside of houses and they go, why are there those bolt holes up there? That was from the period where people used to put dishes on the outside of their house. What on earth did they do that for? To receive their satellite TV. What? Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Talking about satellite, I love talking about new technology. Talking about satellites, did you see the post on LinkedIn the other day from someone showing us the new way of getting satellites into space?
No. Go on.
Well, here's a good one as well. So I'm sorry, by the way, folks, if you think that these things are not tangibly linked together, but actually they are in some shape or form.
Okay.
Right. So someone has developed a way of getting satellites into space using centrifugal force.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So effectively, they have what looks like it looks like that, but I don't even know because I'm not into cars. But it looks like that bit in the car, right? That's round like that with a bit of a funnel coming off of it. I don't even know what that is. If you know what that is, folks, do let me know.
Yeah.
But it's a circle with a funnel thing coming out the top, right? And effectively, the satellite is in a holder, and it's spun round, yeah. And then when it gets enough speed up, it's let go and up into
Wow.
space. If you haven't seen that video, folks, it's amazing.
We'll get the link, shall we? We'll try and get the link in the comments a bit later
on. We'll get another link in the comments.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many good links in the comments to this show today that people will be like, wow, link heaven.
Now, what I am surprised about, Graham, is we're over half an hour through the show,
and
we haven't heard from Odessa. Where is she? Is she busy?
She's in a taxi.
Ah, okay.
She's in a taxi on her way somewhere, some royal appointment.
Okay. We've missed her, clearly.
Yeah. But what a great job she did of standing in for you last week.
Fabulous.
I have to say, last minute. How is the finger? Yeah, let's have an update on the terror that is playing seven-a-side football.
Seven-a-side football.
Seven-a-side football. Yeah.
My career, my sort of soon-to-be ended career. So I went back this morning. I have to say, I've been to this fracture clinic before with previous injuries, and it's usually absolutely packed. I've noticed both times I've been to the hospital recently. I think we shouted out Good Hope hospital last time, not No Hope, Good Hope. How quiet. You hear all the things around COVID and all the things around beds and all that sort of thing, but the general, my experience of A&E and the sort of the physiotherapy department's absolutely dead. No one there. Usually there'd be 20 or 30 people in this area. I'd say how quick it was. You get 30 minutes free parking at the hospital.
Yeah.
I actually qualified for the free parking, so I actually parked the car.
I've never done that in my life.
It was like, it came up, I put the card in, I got the coins ready, and it said no charge. So I parked the car, got to the physiotherapy, waited, got seen, got back to the car, 28 minutes, job done. So
that's like winning the lottery, isn't it?
I know. Unbelievable.
It really is.
But especially really quiet.
When you're there with the coins.
Yeah. Already it's like, okay, back in the pocket. Didn't expect that. So anyway, so the outcome is I now have this new type of splint. I've got to wear this for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That way. Keep going the wrong way. That way.
Yeah.
This for 2 weeks, and then I should get an appointment to go back and see the physiotherapist in 3 weeks' time. I think their just concern is the fact that actually, if it doesn't heal properly, you end up with a problem and you end up with a lack of mobility, and it can have a lot of, silly as it sounds, a lot of issues. And I guess it can then potentially pop out quite easily, the top half of the finger. So, thank you for your concern, but that is the update.
Well, when you go back to see the physiotherapist, it'd be really interesting to quiz them on ergonomics and see just how much they know.
Now there is a link here.
Yeah.
So there is a link. And the surgeon who I was speaking to, or the senior doctor or whatever, as the male nurse was putting this on my hand, he started talking into a microphone, and I thought I must have a look. He was using Dragon for the notes. Now I'd not seen this before in the hospital, so he was reciting into a microphone, and I looked and I could see Dragon appear. He was reciting the notes for my visit. So that was the link, was the fact that he was doing that. I've never seen them do that before. Is that new?
No.
No.
No. Do you remember with previously when we've done the networking event a month, and we had Courtney come along, and Sonia?
Courtney Castle.
That's right. Yeah. That's one of the things they do.
I didn't realise that was one of the applications, though.
Yeah, massive application.
Application.
Yeah. I think she told us of a story. We'll have to get her back on again another week. But she told us of a story where they'd done a piece of work with a part of the NHS, and it was a part where the process as it was before they went in, was taking something like 6 weeks from start to finish, when people were going in, and then they had to go through this process, and a report had to be written, and then it had to get out, and it was taking about 6 weeks to get these reports out. And by changing the process to a voice-driven thing, it was like gone to from 6 weeks to the next day.
Wow. I think I remember that story, but I wouldn't have had any of the detail or anything like that.
Because if you think about it, that makes sense, doesn't it? If you think about it, how many people have a process whereby, you know, it's note driven, or, you know, so someone says something, someone else takes a load of notes. They're too busy in that day in order to do that. So they then have to prioritize incoming work over that. Then that work doesn't get done until maybe the end of the week or whatever. And therefore, you know, if you back that up, basically, you know, if a few weeks worth of work happens before something gets out, and then by the time it's got out, you know, it's a month. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I wonder what else. I mean, this is sort of thing that I guess we must get Courtney back on, because it'd be interesting to get sort of her thoughts as to what's her target area. You were just talking about technology and things changing with satellite dishes, Graham, but I wonder what else in an ideal world could they move onto that type of voice software that currently is a massive manual process that would take away a whole load of time in the way we do things. It'd be interesting to know where they see that going in the future. What are their sort of target areas?
I'd love to see, although I don't know whether from a legal perspective it ever would, but I'd love to see something around that maybe integrated into a car. Now, just think about this for a second.
Okay.
We cannot negate the fact that people do business in a car, right? But I'd love to see voice tech get to the point whereby if you had a meeting with someone over loudspeaker, obviously hands-free, in the car, that by the time you got to the other end, the intelligence of that voice application was good enough to have pulled out the salient points of the conversation, written it all up as notes, put it in an email, and sent it out to everyone involved.
That would be awesome. Imagine how much time that would save.
Yeah. Oh, Stephen, could you just write me that report on what we talked about earlier? No, I don't need to. I've already done it. It's already done.
Yeah, check your inbox.
Check your inbox. It's already there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
You know, that would just be brilliant, wouldn't it? I'm sure that voice technology will really push forward with things like this. I am certain that in the future, all the way through from education, where when you go to a lecture, what's being said, not just by the lecturer, but also by students as well, is not just taken down by technology, but that information is actually understood and contextualized by technology to some extent. And actually the basis of that can then become a physical element which you can then take with you, right? So I you know, and if you do write notes, you'll be able to assimilate the notes to the bits of conversation that you want. And in business as well. I mean, personally, as someone that hates taking notes because it doesn't work for me within a meeting, I'd love it if I could just go to a meeting, talk, and at the end of it, there's like not just notes, but like, and here's your agenda for this week, Mr. Coath. Brilliant, great. You know, and we need to get away from there being so many systems as well. Yeah. Right. I agree that it's important to have systems, because different types of systems, because we all use different information differently, and we all find some of us find one thing much more useful than another in terms of visualization or whatever. But it would be great to hone that in and bring it all into one place, so that it's not like, you know, had a meeting this morning, it's like, oh well, we've got 15 different systems here for where we're putting information. Surely we need to actually find a better way of doing that, where maybe the information is all in one place, but we can all just skin it in a different way, so that we're all working from a information source, but we can all have it how we like it. That would be better. So that's what I'd like to see. What else did you see in the news this week?
I mean, is the C word? Are we okay to discuss that? COVID. I know we try and avoid it, Graham, but I'm just thinking.
We haven't talked about that for ages.
No, we haven't. Have you noticed? I mean, this started off really a conversation on Monday with one of our marketing team in the Netherlands, how they were saying they're now back in a 3-week lockdown in the Netherlands. So they're saying that, so I think it was bars and restaurants have got to
each other, were they?
Yeah, exactly. Bars and restaurants got to close at 8, shops at 7, and then things like football stadiums have all got to be empty. So that was sort of Monday. And then yesterday I saw, actually it started before that. At the weekend I read about Austria having a lockdown for the non-vaccinated people. Then you've got Ireland. So then you've got the Netherlands. Ireland are then going on about this sort of getting people to work from home where possible again, so pushing people back. So it's suddenly, you do wonder when or if it will come back to ourselves, won't it? I know it's that mystical plan B that they talk about, and they want to try and stay on plan A, but it's suddenly, if you look at the map, it's starting to creep further across Western Europe, and France, they're having further discussions as well. And Germany's got huge, I think I'd read this morning, the big German markets in Germany are hugely concerned because they could be cancelled for the second year on the trot. So it just seems to be working its way back towards us, doesn't it, really? And numbers seem quite high. There was an interesting graph I saw where where it showed how high the current infections are to previous times, and it's just sort of slightly concerning that we're going to get some sort of lockdown.
I have to say, I've taken my eye off the ball a little bit with that. So, what's the current situation over here in terms of infection rates? Do we know?
I mean, they were talking it was about 39 or 40,000, I think. Right. I think it was yesterday was 39,500, something like that. And if you think, when we had lockdowns, we were in the low 40s, weren't we? So it's getting back to those numbers. In fact, as we're talking, Graham, let me just go. There was a graph I saw. Let me just see if I can go and find that and just sort of share that with you. But it was a bit like those numbers, and it's interesting how they've got different rules and regulations in Scotland and Wales, isn't it, around what you need to do? In terms of the passports and all that sort of thing.
I'm not surprised by any of it because, I mean, the last few weekends I've had a great time. I went to a gig in London. Back on the tube. I have to say, there were lots of people on the tube not wearing a mask. I was. Because that was a step too far, I felt. But
I wore one yesterday, but I have to say I was really surprised seeing there's notices round all over the tube about the Mayor of London's, his rules. How few people were doing it. I reckon what I saw, it was less than 50%.
Well, you probably know where I'm talking about, right? So we went to a gig at the Garage, which you get to Highbridge and Islington.
Yeah.
You get to that. Here we are.
There you go.
You've got a little graph. Let's just add that in there. Oh my word! Look at that. Yeah, 7-day average 39,133. That's look at that dip, and then look at that going back up.
So we hit there. Yeah. All the way back. I don't know. What do you reckon that is? 2,000-3,000.
So we're up again near to where. Or we're heading towards where we were at the 8th of July. Ooh, yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, it's a bit worrying. But so we get on the tube.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we got on the overground, and actually, that wasn't too bad. I mean, it's quite spaced out. We managed to avoid the tube, which is good. All the way from Richmond to Highbridge and Islington, out. And straight into, we thought we'd go for a local pub. So we went straight into the Famous Cock, which is a great name for a pub.
Okay.
Do you know that? Do you know that part of London at all?
No, not I know.
Okay, which was I mean, they had about 50 big screens in there because it's clearly a football pub and clearly an Arsenal pub.
Yeah, yeah.
Clearly, I mean, you wouldn't want to go in there as a Tottenham supporter.
No Tottenham or West Ham shirts appreciated in there.
Yeah. No, definitely
or
not.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Anyway, so you go in there. It was heaving. Not a single person wearing a mask.
No.
Nobody was wearing a mask at all. As I say, I did wear a mask on the train. There were some people wearing masks, other people weren't, but not a single person in that pub, other than the people that were serving.
Yeah,
were wearing masks. Right. Then we went into the gig, and apart from the people on the door, nobody wearing a mask. Right. So there you go. And then last weekend, down here, up at the local golf club wedding. And again, no mask wearing.
No.
Disco in the evening, everyone dancing around, high-fiving each other, drinking at the bar. You would not have believed that COVID existed. You would not. You think, well, something's got to give in it. Something has got to give in all of that. I just, and yet, we have had cases of COVID in this household.
Yeah.
From kids at school. What is really, really interesting, and I'd love the scientists. I really want a proper scientific explanation on this now. That's what I'd really like.
We need to get a scientific expert to come on the show next time, Graham.
Yeah,
someone who can debunk all the myths. Yeah.
I want to know how, out of a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old, who are very close, who continually play together, right, who will jump on top of each other and whatever as part of playing and life or whatever, sat in the back seat of the car right next to each other having the same PCR test, how one of them has managed to get COVID and the other hasn't.
That's the bit I don't get.
I honestly do not get it. I'd really like to properly understand how this virus spreads, right? Because as a household, we had 2 people with COVID, and the rest of us not having COVID, right? And yet,
is that at the moment?
No, they're
previously, yeah.
But there would have been hugs, there would have been kisses, there would have been. I mean, I just don't understand it.
No, it's very strange.
We were absolutely sure that more of us would have had it,
Yeah.
And it's really, really odd. The other thing was as well with that, which was quite an interesting little side story, is that we nearly didn't know that anyone had COVID. And the reason being is because the eldest one, who does have to do COVID tests for school, the little ones don't, right? But the eldest one, one of the older ones that does have to do COVID tests regularly for school, he did his COVID test, as did his older brother. And his COVID test, lateral flow test, said negative. And they then threw them out in the bin. Because he's a lazy little type, didn't open the bin lid properly, and it fell on the floor next to the bin outside, right? Mum comes home, spots it on the floor outside and went, why is there a positive COVID test on the floor? Right? And then he's like, well, it can't be mine because mine was negative. Right? Well, she said, well, where else? Why have we got because we live down a private road.
Yeah.
Why else is there a COVID test like your one on the floor? No. Anyway, and then the next day he goes, he's eating ice cream, and he goes, oh no, it wasn't. He was eating strawberry flavored sweets, and he went, these strawberry flavored sweets taste of mint. And my wife goes, you're doing another COVID test. Doesn't have a COVID test straight away.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's fascinating How do we know that someone's got COVID? And it seems to me like you have to. The only way to really know is you have to keep testing, keep testing, keep testing, keep testing, keep testing. So one of the things that I'd love to know is how many people are testing on a regular basis, and how regular is that testing?
Do you know what I find quite interesting? Because my oldest son, who's 14, obviously has to take tests every couple of times a day for school, but a couple of times a week for school. But what I found more recently is, do you remember when they first went, Graham, and your kids who were getting the test, they came back with boxes and boxes and boxes of these blue and white packs to do their home testing? I find them really hard to get a hold of. So we're down to the last couple of tests, and I went to the local Boots and they said, "Oh, I've just handed out the last one an hour ago. I haven't got any more. If you want some more, you've got to come in with a certain code or something." So yeah. I wonder if this isn't particularly helping, is the fact that it seemed they almost were giving them away hand over fist to start with. Now we're sort of scrambling around trying to find more, and it's like, well, why? I don't think school have got any more. So where are you picking these up from?
Well, I can give people advice on this.
Okay.
Because yes, we found exactly the same situation. We used to. My wife has them from work, but obviously they're for her for work. Because she has to test every single day, several times. And we used to have them in the Guildhall in Chard, and you used to be able to go there and pick them up, etc. And then the schools had them, but then the school stopped doing them.
Yeah.
But if you register online on the government website,
okay,
everybody, if you register under the same app bit that you need to do, your NHS Gateway bit, if you register on there, you can order them, and you can order another pack every other day or something like that.
Okay. Right? So is that through the COVID app on my phone, or is that through the Gateway?
It's through the Gateway thing, sort of NHS Gateway thing. But right. If you register on there, put your details on there, you can literally just go in and you can just order them, and then a couple of days later you can order another box, and
they come to your house in the post.
And they come to your house in the post. It even tells you that they're on its way.
Perfect. Right, I will get onto that straight after this show.
And it's there. It does remind you, folks, when you get the COVID test now, this is not for resale.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but maybe. Clearly,
maybe some people are selling them.
That clearly they've had to put that on there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Come on, folks. You know,
really?
If really, yeah. Come on. If you've got spare kits, give them to people that perhaps would struggle with technology, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
There you go. Well, that's been great conversation today. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Well,
enjoyed it.
If anybody does know anything more about the latest research into, because we must have a bit more research now as to why COVID spreads the way it does, because and look, I know there's lots of theories out there, and some of them are, I don't want to get into vax or anti-vax or anything like that. I'm just curious about, what do we know now that we didn't know at the beginning of this process about the way that this is transmitted? Because it clearly isn't straightforward.
No.
And are there people that are, are there people that are more susceptible as well? Not susceptible in terms of how the condition affects them, because we've known that all the way along, that there are some people that are more vulnerable than others. But are there people that are more likely to get it than others as well? And is there anything other than mask wearing, hand cleaning, or whatever that we can do to avoid getting it? Maybe the reason I haven't got it is because I'm taller than everybody else in the family.
And COVID doesn't get that high.
And maybe COVID doesn't get that high.
Yeah, could well be that.
Look, someone's going to go, "Don't be so damn stupid."
Yeah, I'm desperately looking to my right to the comments, thinking someone's going to be putting an angry face or something.
Wait! Any minute now. Oh dear! But
no.
I haven't got an answer. That's the point. I haven't got an answer. So there you go. If anybody would like to you know, catch up with Chris Hope, do Chris
Yeah.
Hope. That's not his name. It's not his name. I'm saying it wrong yet again. All right. Dear,
Come
oh
on.
dear, oh dear. Chris Lomas.
Yes.
Right. If anybody would like to catch up with Chris,
Yeah.
this is what happens when guests put the wrong name in the thing. It really messes with my head. If anyone would like to catch up with Chris Lomas,
Yeah.
right, from Hopeful, please do connect with him on LinkedIn. If you're on Twitter, then he will put his website details hopefully in the comments, and those will go onto Twitter for you as well.
Yeah.
And you know, do connect, and if you can spare a few bob, spare a few bob, or actual money as well. You know, that would be useful. Thanks for joining us yet again for another Wow Ergonomics. We did get a little bit of ergonomics in there, Stephen, as normal.
We did.
Which was good. We'll see you again next week. Next week, what time are we on next week?
I think it's Friday at 12 next week.
Friday
Back to our backup plan is always Friday at 12. So
our backup period of the week. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you again in a week's time. Don't forget, I'm going to also put into the comments as well. We do have another networking event coming up in December the 10th, 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. I'll put the link in there in the comments to that. Do come and say hi to Stephen and myself there. Maybe even Chris will come along to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then people can meet him there and talk to him a little bit more about the work that he's doing there. That would be great as well. Bye for now, everybody.